It's home. It's cranking.
Set the clock by it. I'm here. She's at my house now, right? She's at my house. So she's not in the hospital. So it's going to be a while. There's going to be a lot of physical therapy before she.
All right, Tuesday, February 4th, 2025, 7 p.m. The City Council meeting. I'll ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Councilman Cohen.
Here.
Councilman Phillips.
Here.
Councilman Munger.
Here.
Councilman Haycraft.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson.
Here.
And Mayor Lauderman.
Here. I'll call this meeting to order. If I could get Councilman Munger to do the invocation, please.
Lord, we just come before you and we thank you that we can gather here this evening. Lord, we ask you for your wisdom to prevail in this meeting. Lord, direct us, guide us in all that we do, and lead us in your way. We thank you. It's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I need approval of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Need approval of minutes for regular scheduled council meeting on January 7th, January 21st, and the public meeting on January 14th, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Approval of payroll and claims, second half, January 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Steve Gumble, American Legion Writers.
Mayor Lauderman, City Manager, City Council members, my name is Steve Gumble, Stevegumble. This is Laura McAfee, Lauramcafee. I am the Director of Chapter 55 American Legion Riders. We are part of the MJ Shields American Legion. We are the motorcycle side of the family. What we would like to do is have a bike show Saturday, June 14th, closing 2 blocks of North Main, from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We will close the south side of Hill Street intersection to the north side of Center Street intersection, and this will allow traffic to bypass and go through the alley, and they'll still be able to get through. That's exactly, there you go. We are, and by the way, we will be using the same insurance that we used for the 9/11 ceremony over in Central Park. Any questions?
Is this the first year?
Sir?
Is this the first year?
Yes, sir, this is our first year.
Nice.
We're trying to follow the tradition that the Lone Wolf Club had, having it every Father's Day weekend Saturday, so we want to try to follow that and get it set back up.
How many attendees are you looking to expect?
I'd like to say more than I want, but it's hard to tell with an event like this. I'm hoping 100.
Okay.
All right, anybody else have any questions? None, I'll make a motion pending insurance that we allow the closure of the streets on that date, on the 14th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There you go.
Very good, thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
All right. Public comments. April, you're on here first, but if you give me just 1 second. Susan? On it. Birds won't take but a moment.
Hello, Councilman. You remember me from last 2 weeks ago? I know you're going to be voting today in regards to the elimination of fluoride treatment in our city water. A couple of key points I want to address before you place that vote. One thing to consider is that fluoride naturally occurs in the Mississippi River, where crustaceans form, fluoride forms. So even with the minuscule amount or the minimal amount which we are putting in the water, you still have an accumulation effect because you don't know what the natural amount is, then you're adding on the subjective amount that the city is applying. So just remember, there is an accum effect. Another thing you may want to consider, swallowing fluoride has very little or no benefit to the efficacy of tooth decay. It's topical application that makes the difference. The CDC came to this conclusion in 1999, and 2001. Countries that discontinued the use of fluoride saw no change in dental decay. This was from the World Health Organization, 1970 through 2010, so it was a very long analysis. In 1953, 6 people voted to put fluoride in our water system. This was based on a meta-analysis study, not a double-blind randomized placebo-controlled study, which is what scientifically you do to get plausible results. So now we have 2025, and you councilmen have the authority to discontinue fluoride in our water. I want you to do this with confidence. For one, if you look at our social media polls, they overwhelmingly want fluoride out of our water system. Number 2, back in September of 2024, there was an 8-year hearing done at the federal court level with expert testimony overwhelmingly supporting unreasonable doubt in using fluoride, specifically in children. So I'm going to ask you, please, today, all of you, vote to remove this pharmaceutical in our water and let the people apply it accordingly.
April? So 2 things before you start. I see you have a long list of things on here that you put on the agenda. Pick one that you want to talk about tonight.
Actually, it's against the law to.
Actually,
It is because you're depriving me of my rights. Several cities, city councils, and mayors have been sued for cutting citizens off.
Ms. Azate, the things that you have, that you've asked to put on the agenda are not things that you're requesting action by the city. With respect, they are things that are public comment, and it is.
No, I'm asking
it is,
for.
Well, let me finish. It is perfectly appropriate for the council to limit public counsel to a particular period of time. They that is
But
the
nobody
policy.
else, just me.
That is the policy that was established. That's not correct. The policy that was established is that there is a 3-minute time limit. There
For the
is
public.
there is a provision that you can request an extension. The council is not obligated to do that. If you'll take a look, you'll see that the chambers are very full. There are multiple things on the agenda. The council is not obligated to allow you to do a campaign speech.
By no means am I.
And they can do as they wish, and it is not illegal to tell you that you can't monopolize a half hour of time tonight. You have the right to speak publicly, and the council has given you that right. They have the right to designate how long that's going to be, because the things that you have on the agenda are not things where you're requesting something of this council. You're not requesting action of the
But
council.
they actually are. So for you to assume that, I mean, that's on you.
I saw the list.
The public speaking portion where you sign up is 3 minutes, but I believe it's 5 minutes for the normal council meeting. So it's okay to cut me off at 5 minutes with a kitchen timer, but anybody else can speak 30 minutes and that's acceptable? what I was saying was, so it's okay to cut me off at 5 minutes, but anybody else can speak for 30 minutes?
That's not the case.
Or is the council saying
that's-
what I have to say and ask isn't important to them?
No one has said that.
They can't make time to hear from concerned citizens?
As I stated, there are multiple things upon the agenda, all of which do not
I also put
relate
on
to-
my sign up that I requested to speak last, so I would not hold anybody up. Did I or did I not? Lisa? I always put on there to put me at the very end, so I'm not holding anybody up.
The council is not obligated to put things on the agenda because you want to address them. The council has chosen to give the public the right to speak publicly, and they will give you the right to have your public comment. If it was something that was on the agenda, you could sign up and you could do that. You don't get to set the agenda
So
for
are we
the
talking about
council.
right now or during the normal agenda that I've signed up for?
You don't get to set the agenda for this council. That's ridiculous.
I
That's no way to run a
absolutely
city council.
never asked or implied that.
You are demanding
I'm saying that
the
I specifically signed up for different things so that I wouldn't be cut off because there's several things of importance.
We're demanding
Which is
that
why
the
a lot of these
council
people are
put
here.
things on the agenda. The council is not obligated to put those things on the agenda. You are not a member of this council, although you are certainly running for it. If you wish to campaign, perhaps you should
Again,
have a
I'm not
candidate
campaigning.
forum. I'm not going to debate you any further. Mayor, it is not illegal for you to set
That's fine.
a limit.
That's fine. So audio and video, what's your thoughts on that?
This is something that myself and many others have spoke up about at other meetings, so I feel the need to yet again address it in hopes moving forward it is done. Has anyone here tonight had a hard time hearing when someone is speaking, whether it be a council member, mayor, city manager, or whoever, because they aren't speaking into the microphone or not speaking loudly enough? Please raise your hand if it's hard to hear some of them up there at times. People come to these meetings because they want to be informed and know what is going on. So when we can't hear someone speaking, how do we know what is going on? Also, I would really like to ask that everybody please keep their microphone forward throughout the meeting. I think it's disrespectful when you push it away from you after speaking or don't have it forward and down. Again, we're here because we want to know what's going on, which is why one of you just said tap on this because people couldn't hear. We want to know what's going on. That's why we're here. We care just like we assume that you all care. So if everybody could just speak clearly into the microphone so everybody in the back can hear. And that's all I have for the public speaking portion.
All right, under me, Library Board, second reading, Linda Spahn. The motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Then we have recommendation for Employee Benefit Trust Board, first reading, Susan Dobson. Second reading will be next council meeting. Now we have the removal of fluoride. We have a resolution 2534-25 to follow for.
Mayor,
And
go ahead. No, go ahead.
point of order there. We approved the agenda for tonight. Right after approving the agenda, we approved the meeting minutes from following for the 3 meetings. One of those, 2 weeks ago, motion was made by Councilmember Haycraft to direct City Attorney James Lemon to draft an ordinance removing the use of fluoride from the Hannibal water supply. The motion was seconded. And when the vote was taken, at the roll call, the motion failed 3-2 to not have a vote on this. So this is in direct contradiction to what the council decided last week.
I believe it was 3-3.
No.
3-2.
It might just be a technicality, but if it was for an ordinance, we don't need an ordinance. This is just a resolution.
I discussed this with Councilman Cohen earlier today. I don't recall the specific vote. My understanding when I left here was that my direction from the council was to review the matter with the Board of Public Works and come back with some type of document that would do that. I reviewed the original documentation. I spoke to Matt. The original way this was done was a request by resolution, and the resolution just requested that the Board of Public Works start putting fluoride in the water. What I have done here is a request that the Board of Public Works cease putting fluoride in the water. It is not an instruction, it is not a law which would stop it, it is putting it in their ballpark. After I had submitted that to the clerk to provide to all of you for your review, the Board of Public Works got back with me and they indicated there are some additional steps they're going to have to go through if you do want to do that. One of which is there's a 90-day contact period where they need to inform, is it DNR, guys? So I provided that to you guys, and it's my understanding the mayor asked for it to go on the agenda so that you all could talk about it. Just because something's on the agenda never means that you guys have to vote yes or take it up even. You can vote to table it. You guys can do whatever you want. I just want you to understand, when I submitted it based on my understanding of the discussion, certainly not to try to tell you all that you had to do anything, et cetera, et cetera. And I wanted to make it clear what the document is that you guys have. I don't have anything else there.
So, I mean, I'm obviously, my vote doesn't count on this unless it's a tie, so it's up to you guys. Table it and bring it back, I don't care. It's up to you. This is not a tough call, in my opinion.
But it was our understanding that by the motion failing last week, that this week information would come forward, we could talk about it, and then if we want to vote next week.
Do you want fluoride in the water or no?
No, I do not, or excuse me, I do not want it removed.
You don't want it?
No, I do not. There's not any proof that it does harm.
Absolutely fine. That is your opinion.
That's correct.
So it's up to you guys. If you want to table it, move it forward, leave it going, but understand that it's going to keep coming back until we do one thing or the other. So.
Well, I would like to set it up for a vote for the next meeting and give everyone a chance to, if they've done some research, just think about it, talk to their constituents if they want, and vote next week or 2 weeks from today. Some of the things I have found, American Dental Association says that fluoride in water reduces tooth decay by 20 to 40%. And these are all based on studies within the last year. The US EPA does mandate a limit for fluoride in tap water, 4 milligrams per liter. That limit is meant to prevent crippling health issues caused by excess fluoride intake, like bone weakening disease called skeletal fluorosis.
So are you wanting to table this until next meeting?
Yes, I am, but I would like to have a discussion this
I
evening.
I have done my research. I'm ready to vote. I have my answer. I'm fine with a vote this evening, and I'm fine to table it.
I'm good with a vote this evening.
May I continue with some of the research I found? If not for the council members, for the people sitting in the audience. Hawaii is the only U.S. state without any fluoride in municipal taps. Fluoridated water is only available there on military bases. A 2015 report from Hawaii's health department said the state also has the highest prevalence of tooth decay among third graders in the U.S. Researchers in Canada see the same phenomenon. The rate of cavities detected in Alberta spiked after the city went fluoride-free in 2011, according to a February 2024 study. Calgary did the same and saw similar tooth issues in kids. The city now plans to refluoridate its water supply, but cost issues and global supply chain problems post-pandemic have created delays. Rumors have circulated that drinking fluoridated water can lead to bone cancer, but long-term studies from both the UK and US haven't found any credible evidence of higher rates in areas where people drink fluoridated water. Fluoride in drinking water at the recommended level has not been linked to lower IQ scores. Some studies, including from U.S. government, have noted a possible link between very high fluoride levels in drinking water more than twice the levels of fluoride in U.S. drinking water and lower IQ scores in children. The findings were based on studies in non-U.S. countries where some pregnant women and children were exposed to total amounts higher than 1.5 milligrams of fluoride per liter of drinking water.
Well, I think we can find studies that argue both sides of it. A recent study, January 6th, did show a direct correlation with lower IQ scores from sorry, the mic is low. Yeah. There was a recent study, January 6th of this year, fluoride exposure and children's IQ scores are directly linked together with a 1.2 point drop due to the fluoride. And the overconcentration with being formulas already has fluoride in it. The fluoride that's added to the water, then also natural occurring fluoride, it's just too much that's getting into the system. We have too many chemicals that are exposed to our children as it is. Why not lessen one more?
From my research, you can't find anything that's not going to say that fluoride is not good for dental health. But from the doctors that I've spoken with, for the most part, there's fluoride in so many other things now that they're getting it from their toothpaste, they're getting it from other areas, much more than it was back in the 50s and even all the way up, into more recent years. But with these studies that have been shown that there is a link from fluoride to so many other problems, my opinion, what I've seen through that is the risk for problems is greater than the potential for benefit out of it.
Every study I have seen has been in third world type countries, and you're going to equate results from there to the results we might have in the United States. I mean, these studies have been studied in Iran, Iraq, India, Canada, Mexico,
do those places
China.
have the same access to fluorinated toothpaste, mouthwash?
Not like what we do.
Exactly.
Can I make a motion to table this for now? We've got more important things.
Absolutely.
We've got a whole crowd here.
So we have a motion to
fire
table.
department.
Just need a second.
No, I do not. Not yet. If most people here feel that we should vote tonight, then by all means, let's vote. I have one more I would like to read here. It's true you can have too much fluoride. For someone to experience true fluoride toxicity, which I've heard a lot about toxic things, with serious or life-threatening illness, it would take drinking 5 liters of water for every kilogram of body weight. For an adult at 155 pounds, that means you'd have to drink roughly 120 gallons of water at once. The proof is just not there. And I am concerned about the additional costs, dental costs associated with taking children to the dentist that a lot of people in my ward, I'm afraid, may not be able to afford. And with the risk of some of this other stuff non-existent in this country, in my opinion, there's no question but fluoride is the way to go.
Motion to table. No second. Somebody want to make a motion to vote on?
A motion vote.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
The motion was.
What was the motion?
Motion was a motion to vote.
Correct.
So
Second, yeah, which has already been, I'll say aye on that.
So now you can do one of two things. You can either do the vote on the resolution at the same time as you do everything else at the end, or you voted to go ahead and vote, so you could go ahead and do a roll call vote now in regard to the resolution. That would be my suggestion. Result.
Mhm.
Well, no, I would do it now, and then you don't have to do it later.
Don't have to worry
Just
about it later.
go ahead and do a roll call vote. My suggestion.
All right. Councilman Cohen.
Nay.
Councilman Phillips.
Clarify that.
You're voting whether or not to approve the resolution. A voice vote to approve the resolution. If you vote yes, you will be voting to resolve to the Board of Public Works to request them start the process which is required in order to terminate fluoride.
Understood. Yes. Thank you.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Haycraft,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson.
Only because of the overwhelming results that I got from the public, yes.
Mayor Lonnie.
I declare it duly approved and adopted on this. All right, Lisa.
Good evening. Before you tonight, I have the approval of an appointment to the Hannibal Board of Public Works for Cole. Before you tonight, I have the appointment for the Board of Public Works of Cole Painter for a term to expire July 2028.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now, just like the annexation period, I'm going to ask everybody to be respectful and quiet, not speak out of turn while we're discussing.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Council. I think it's no surprise who I am, Steve Meyer, President, Local Fire 1211. And I think that on the request of your last meeting when I was here, you just asked us to come back and discuss this in open public forum to see what we can do about this.
So what I'd like to hear from you, Steve, is two things. First of all, I'm going to dance around this forever, so I want to know what you're asking for. Specific.
Asking for help to keep these guys working.
I need to know what you're talking about.
At the end of the day, it boils down to money.
Okay? How much?
I mean, I can throw a number out there, but I know what the answer is.
Throw a number out there.
I mean, at this point, in order to be competitive, we need to be at 48,000.
Okay.
With the rate of insurance increasing and ever increasing, that'll offset it and get us up into a play ball field that we can at least manage. Right now, we're bleeding so badly that I don't know where the bleeding's going to stop, and I don't know how to stop it just short of money.
So right now, we have a bill in front of the House, public safety bill, that the standalone bill, there's nothing on it. Hopefully, nobody in the Senate will be stupid and add stuff to it so that it can just pass and go to the governor and be signed.
Right.
So once that's done, we would put on a ballot, probably, hopefully, in August, to have a 1 cent public safety tax. That money would go directly to police and fire for retention and hiring. Right now, the city is operating at about a $500,000 deficit. So for me to come up here and say I could ask these guys to give you a $8,000 raise starting salary, I'm not sure how we would do that.
Right, and I understand that, and I know it's a huge problem, but we've got to look at a short-term fix of some form and capacity.
I
Like I said,
understand that. There's
five
several
guys we've lost just at the beginning of this year.
Yep, I understand that. Right now, you have 37 firefighters.
No,
Yes. As of this morning, you have 37.
are they?
I just had it clarified by the city clerk.
I would love to see all 37 of them because, Mayor, we operate on 36 men on the trucks. That's 3 12-man crews. We haven't been at 3 12-man crews since before I started.
That's
Okay.
and it doesn't
On-
drag.
Okay, well, with admin in the contract, it states we're a 40-person department. So by that standard, we're still 3 short. We've got one guy that's out on injury. We've got one guy that's out on sick leave FMLA until his retirement. I mean, it's the short-term fix where we don't have the bodies on the trucks. I mean, regardless of what the papers say, it's the bodies on the trucks. We don't have that. That's the problem we're trying to fix in the short term is getting these guys on the trucks, maintaining them. We've got 2 guys vying for a spot at Quincy that are guaranteed to get hired. We've got one guy that's in an interview process right now for their chief's position. I mean, it's not just the bottom of the barrel guys that are feeling the effects of this. And we've got to stop it somehow. So in the short term, I need a solution.
Steve, we've spoken in the past, and you indicated that you've reviewed to some degree our annual budget. I'd like to know if during that review, then or now, if you have identified any areas you think would be worth consideration or discussion. Otherwise, the city staff, I know, has been working tirelessly, and they're down to the penny or down to the nickel, of course, in a deficit year. But I thought, out of respect, I would ask if you had any areas of the budget to make these types of increases that you would suggest to us.
Charlie, the only information that I have is available on the state auditor's website, and that was for the fiscal year of, I believe, 24, ending in June. Would that be June 30th of 2023, leading up to 24? Is that the audit, or it ended in 24? On that state auditor's website, in their document that the city provided whatever fiscal information to, there was $10.1 million of unassigned funds. That's the only thing that I know there's any money. Where that money is, how it's dedicated to, or something in the back channels, I don't know. But according to that audit, there was an excess of $10.1 million of unassigned funds. Now, where that is or how that comes to be, I don't know. But that's what that audit says. In terms of budgeting, I've seen the numbers. It doesn't appear that there's any money, but I don't do budgets. I'm not a financial manager. I'm a captain at a fire department. This isn't my area of expertise, and I don't expect it to be anybody's other than the people that are titled with that. So with that being said, based off what that document shows on that state website, it appears there is funding. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But according to that, that's what I have to go on.
In review of that, there is, yes, the money is there, obviously, but a lot of it's allocated for, one, a fire truck. There's also a lot of other equipment purchases and agreements that are upcoming.
Sure.
That
And like I
is
said,
already allocated.
And just based off
They didn't
what
take
that
that
document says, it just says
consideration,
that amount. And like I said, I'm assured that there is money
Correct.
being played out forward for that. But with those things coming to be, and this tax hoping to pass, in the short term, we need to find a solution, if there is any money available, to make a solution and something to happen drastically in the next 30 days or less, because we're hemorrhaging people at such a rate that one station being shut down may not be the end of it. I mean, the ramifications outweigh the cost. I understand it is a great sum of money, and I understand it's not like the wave of a magic wand to make this happen, but we have to make steps towards progress, and unfortunately right now we really need the progress.
It's just tough to pass something like that before having that tax passed.
And I get it.
Because it would
even if it
handcuff the
passed
city pretty tough
and made it
for
on,
years to come.
you still have a year to collect, so it would be basically you're floating it for almost 2 years, and I get it, it's tough.
And just for clarification, you guys deserve every bit of it.
And
Thank you
we
for what you guys do
appreciate
for
it.
the city.
And we don't feel undervalued by the city. It's just the fact that we can't make ends meet. I don't know any guy on the department that doesn't work a second job and that hopefully has a spouse that also is able to work. But increasing child costs, our insurance went up $206, I think it is, a month. And it's just almost impossible to make ends meet. I mean, everybody rants and raves that firefighters have it so easy, but I would take anybody a dare to step through our work life. It's 2,756 hours a year. The average American works 2,080. So we work almost another half of a work year compared to the average American.
I know the funds you're talking about, and they're not exactly discretionary funds. Without putting anyone on the spot or speaking for anyone else, I can help you review so that that idea of a discretion of a what number did you give? 10? That's a 10 million number.
According to that audit, it was like 10.1 of unassigned funds. Like I said, what the state deems unassigned and what the city is two different things, and that's none of my business.
Well, I think we can help you understand that so that it's not an unknown. We don't have this
that's great, and that's the
big
communication
number
that we need
out there that people think is discretionary or think that it can be used or allocated. If we get together at some point, we can help you understand, how that particular fund is allocated, so it's not a great big number that some people think may be able to be used.
Right.
It's not the case, but we could concentrate on that particular fund as one part of your answer.
If that's a possible answer, I'd like to explore any and all avenues. Like I said, at this point, I'm grasping at straws. I'm just here to try and save a department that I love. This was my career choice. This is where I grew up. This is where I had planned on retiring from.
Well, good. We'll do that. It's a way to, it's just a way to have more communication. And if anything in this that arena doesn't work, we can at least be communicating more to seek out answers elsewhere.
Absolutely, and I like I said, I've said this time and time again, and I don't fault anybody for it, but there is a communication breakdown that I would love to see fixed. I can't stress it enough. We as the union have been nothing but trying to be stewards to help better this place, to make it better for not only ourselves but our citizens, the people that we're here for. We represent them, and we're trying to do the best damn job we can, and I can't stress that enough, but when we don't get heard or we feel like we're not heard, it comes to this, and I don't want this to be a normal. I want to come talk to you guys person to person. I don't want to have to stand up in front of Facebook Live and in a public setting. I hate public speaking. I am terrified of this, but I will do anything I can in my power to help these guys and help this department.
Well, I think everyone, most people here, and I know most people on the staff and the council feel the same way. We desperately want to dig and find answers. So we'll get together. Can we schedule a time after the council?
Sure.
Great. That'll be one more step, into trying to, find a solution.
Right.
I'll get with you and we'll make a date.
Steve, what was supplied to us, what audit related, was $5.6 million for year 23 audit. It's a combined fund balance of all funds, not just the general fund. And it's largely due to grant money that came in 1 year and was spent the next. Money assigned and available means it's not tied to a restricted fund. It's money that we have for our operating budget, which was $13,691,000 for year 24. Balance sheet for new audit, we use a modified accrual accounting, so the auditors also count money that we are owed but not yet received. So $3,110,276 is the cash we have on hand as of June 30th of 24 across all general funds accounts. That's the general operating, payroll, and protested taxes. That's taxes that people are protesting that we don't even have. So then $8.1 million is money, MOSIP, on June 30th, 24. This is a fund reserve, Reserve 1, and the capital fund reserve, Reserve 2, and all other listed receivables, money that we're illegally entitled to but have not yet received. That's unpaid taxes, pending lease payments, etc. So, I mean, it looks all big when you're looking at the state deal because it's all
Condensed
money
in one.
that's
I understand. And
on
like I
books,
said,
but
I'm not trying to point the fingers at it, but when those documents say that, I have to at least ask about it.
I got to ask one thing. I was looking, the 2023 SAFER grant that just closed September 20 of 24, 191 awards were made, totaling $360 million. Of that, hiring new firefighters for 36 months and supplying their salary for 3 years. Did you all apply for that?
I'm actually glad you brought that up. That was one of the points I was about to bring up further down in this. And if you want me to elaborate on it now, I would gladly do so. So we had a meeting on 120 with the city and some Munger councilor, mayor, city manager. I brought in our IAFF district vice president, Mark Woolbright, to help us open doors, provide assistance, and find funding. Amongst those avenues that were presented was a SAFER grant. The IAFF will go through all the legwork. They will provide everything, documents, whatever they need in order to help us obtain those, including up to writing that grant. And that is one of the things we're working on currently with a guy from Springfield, I believe.
I think it's getting ready to open again.
It is, and we're already exploring that option, and that's one of the things we are pursuing actively. And the IAFF is pushing as hard as they can, and they're in the process of writing us a grant. The chief is well aware of that, and that's something that is one of the avenues we are looking at in order to bolster our staffing, to build a safety net, to help provide citizens, to help keep our guys safe. So yes, we are looking into safety grants for that, for appropriate staffing levels. We've also brought forth the IAFF's insurance. I believe Melissa has all the insurance, and she's pending a few things to try and find us some cheaper insurance. So it's not that we're not going out of our way to try and help us. It's just the lack of communication to know that each channel has received it. And I think a simple email once in a while take care of this, and it would stop me from having to be up here. I would love to talk to you guys through email. I'm a lot better on my phone. It's got spell check.
Yeah.
So, and another thing that the IAFF is going to do for us with the cooperation of the city is going to be doing a GIS study. So that'll lay out the demographics, the population, the tax income, all the aspects of having a functioning career paid department. And the IAFF is going to take on that cost of, I believe it was upwards of almost $100,000 to do for us. But we need some documents from the city, which would include, I want to believe, the Board of Public Works, possibly NECOM. These are all things that are out of my grasp, unfortunately. And I'm needing help with that.
Well, as we spoke to him, when we talked to him about that, he just has to ask
Yes.
for what he needs, gives us a list of what he needs so that we can provide that for him.
Right.
We don't have a problem doing that.
And I sent an email out, and I've gotten some help from the chief about it, but I think we need to push it to you guys to get the further help that we need. I love that Mark is involved in it and wanting to help, but I think that's something we can handle in-house without having to bring him up. So I would love to see that. I've got some things that if I can share with you that I need to get that going.
And we're looking at some numbers here, and you guys aren't the least paid on the list, but, you know, I've worked with your guys, you know, for years out in the rural district, and, you know, you guys deserve more than what you're getting paid. I can personally attest to that.
And we appreciate that. And like I said, it's not that anybody here is trying to be greedy. We just want to make a living,
Sure.
and we would like to not have to work 2 or 3 jobs to afford,
I get that,
basic
but-
necessities.
But then, you know, last year you were here at this time, you know, in a budget session, and all you needed was $40,000 then. And, you know, there was a councilman that was here that's not here anymore, that what I wanted to do was, you know, push for a property tax increase that we haven't had since back in the 70s, and I was overruled, and we looked toward the
But
sales
what's to
tax.
say you still can't go after that one? I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
you know, that's possible, but
Right. And that's another option of things
Sure.
that maybe the council can look into to help bolster the finances.
sure.
But like I said, that unfortunately, with all the culminating problems that we have of lack of revenue and everything else, we still have to determine what a short-term fix is to stop the problem that we have on hand.
And you've already kind of touched on in any tax that we can get the public to, you know, vote for, you know, is almost a year out, you know, for the city to see. So
It sure
I mean,
is, but-
there's no short-term fix for this.
There is no short-term fix, so we're just going to keep bleeding people mercilessly and putting ourselves and citizens at risk.
No, I'm not saying that, but
I mean, if we lose, Mike, I'm not trying to cut you off or sound rude, but we've got 2 guys leaving for Quincy. I've got a guy retiring at the end of March. I've got another guy that's retiring in September. I've got at least 3 other guys looking for other opportunities. At 5 guys currently, 2 guys at the end of last year, and then you add that's going to put us at 13 people lost. Out of 36, if we were fully staffed, that is one entire crew in less than a year.
what I'd love to see is a year or so ago, we did, you know, exit interview paperwork, and you know, none of the firefighters have turned any of that back in. If it's truly just money, you know, I'd love to see that on some paperwork, you know, coming back to the city clerk.
How many guys would you like me to call up that are here right now that can tell you it's for money?
Well,
I'm not trying to be snide. I'm just asking because there's a room full of guys that have left that support this department enough that they came back to show their support for us because they love this place, and the only reason they truly left is because they could not financially afford it.
But I'd love to see that, you know, come back into the city clerk.
And like I said, it might be a pride thing. Guys don't want to say that.
Sure.
It's a hard enough pill to swallow to say that you're leaving a bunch of guys that you trust with your life to say it. Sorry, man. I don't want to bust you guys down by saying we don't make enough money here. I'm just going to go with some grace. And I don't fault the guy for doing that ever.
I get that.
There's a certain amount of pride with these guys, and I would never expect them to break that, to divulge it to the city. That's the only reason they left.
I've spoken in the last couple of weeks to several retired firefighters and so on, people that have been involved in hiring and stuff before. So when a person is hired, when you hire a new firefighter, you explain to them exactly what they're going to make. Starting salary, benefits, all that stuff.
They get the dollar amount, I think. I haven't sat in
I
that
know
seat for a
they-
hot
they-
minute.
But I'm just saying, I'm asking you that question.
Right.
I know for a fact that they get that explanation when they step up front. So, and I understand that, and I'm not saying this to be detrimental.
Sure.
okay? But when you're hired to work for a company, you're told what your starting salary is, your benefits, and all of that goes along with it. So it's your choice to come on board at that amount. And is that fair to say?
It is.
So, sure, come on up. Please state your name, please.
Yeah, my name's Will Baker, Willbaker. I've been a fireman with the City of Hannibal for 16 years now.
Yep.
When I came on board with the Hannibal Fire Department, we consisted of 3 12-man crews. Our pension contributions were at 10%. Now our pension contributions are up to 15%,
Right.
which out of the study we done out of approximately 20 departments, the next closest one is 6% less than ours. Along with that, I believe my family insurance costs $360. Along with that, I know the first child we had, emergency C-section, that was $200. Don't quote me on what our insurance costs are now and then, whatever. Along with having 3 12-man crews, it was very rare that we had 8 guys on a crew. A lot of times you had 5 downtown.
Sure.
The amount of community service that we provided back then was second to none, and I'll say that to any department in the state of Missouri. So I guess the point I'm getting at is, right now, what we have is, now we have 3 8-man crews. Our pension contributions are much, much higher. I'm not bringing home near the money that I was, that when I came on board with the fire department, that was understood. The days off available, it don't matter if I get 100 vacation days a year or not, because I can't get off right now to spend time with my family, to go watch my daughter at cheer competitions, so on and so forth. Something that I believe President Meyer, I don't know if he's going to get to it yet or not, and something that hits home to me is we're at about a minimum of $20,000 that we invest in each one of these guys and gals that come through the department. I know mathematician, and I'm not being a smart aleck, but that equates to 10 guys costing about $200,000, folks. So that's something to keep in mind. We can keep doing this and doing this and doing this, $20,000 every month, 2 months, whatever it is. But we've got to get something fixed, and I appreciate your all's.
But once again, you guys did your contract back in 22. You knew what your contributions were going to be to your pension fund, what your wages were going to be.
I guess,
and
Mayor,
so
with
on.
all respect, what I was getting at is what I signed on for and what I understood when I got hired.
Sure. That's what I'm
That's-
asking.
That's not the case now, so.
So what you signed on for and what you're being paid is not what you were told when you signed on, correct? Is that what you're telling me? I honestly want to know that.
And the dollar amount versus what our pension contributions are, or insurance cost, and that, I don't know if that's significant or not.
Just add, he signed on to it because he's a fireman, because he loves his
I
career.
absolutely agree,
40
and he's a
years old.
wonderful
He
firefighter.
can't just leave and start a career somewhere else. He's got to finish out the rest
I
of his
understand that.
career.
That's-
So he
I understand that.
Thanks for your time,
He
Council.
can't just, it doesn't matter if it's contracted, it's pension contribution. He can't just leave that.
I understand that.
I don't
And
think
I'm not,
we really do.
I think I do. I ran the fire board for years. And my goal when I sat on the council and now as mayor has been to nothing but support the fire department and police
Sure doesn't
department.
feel like that right now.
Well, tell me where you want me to cut.
Well, I think there maybe could be some prioritization within the budget, and I'm no budget genius either, but I think there may be, what Meyer is asking is that can you reallocate things in the budget? You guys are short, you're short, but maybe you can take money from other places and reallocate it. Right now, they're in an emergency, and this department supports this entire city, and the ISO ratings and the insurance costs that is going to come straight to the constituents of this community is going to be felt. So maybe a reallocation.
So, what do you want?
No.
No. Here's the problem. You're saying that you want the city to reallocate funds from different departments to the fire department. Fine. Tell me how many of the 9 street department workers do we have do I need to lay off? How many do I need to lay off? How many do I need to lay off? I mean, that's the thing, is we're trying to figure out the money to give these guys to do that. How do you think they're getting a fire truck? Is that on there?
No, we have to pay for the fire truck.
Oh, the $1.5 million.
Yeah, there are only so many grants that are out there for things. Okay, so.
It comes from the fire department. It's their budget.
And the. No, I put together the budget, so, to take to council. So, the. So, the training, number.
You're absolutely right. It's been going on for years. And you sit there and blame this council and this city for it. I do. That's the problem, is every mayor, every council that steps up has to fix a problem that was there beforehand. How many do I have to fix from this past time? A lot. Quite a few. You know what their budget is now over last time? This is the highest on the list at the moment. I have gotten some stormwater things fixed, some things answered that were easy to answer. This is not an easy thing. This is not an easy thing to answer. I don't have millions of dollars. Do you know how much? Do you know how much $8,000 raise would be for these? That's 20%. That's a 20% raise. So a 20% raise is probably going to be $600 and some thousand dollars a one time. And we gave them an 11% raise. And last year we gave them a 1.5%. They get a lot of benefits that others don't.
How much does the city manager get paid annually versus these guys? That there's towns and cities way more smaller than ours. They're getting paid double starting pay. Double. And I brought that up last year and the year before last.
Name a city where that's smaller than ours where they make double the pay.
When I get home, you better set your bottom line.
Send it to me. I would be happy to see that. I would.
I will gladly look.
That makes my job easier.
I can probably find it. I will say the mayor is right. There are a lot of problems. It's a big issue. The problem is, like I said, what is going to happen if they go on strike? How quick does it take a fire to spread? How quick? Surely one of the veterans here tell me when a fire starts, how quick it spreads. Heaven forbid one of your guys' houses catch on fire. There's nobody to come down. What's going to happen?
You know, if I'd like to say something on that pact, if I may, there is not a single person up here that does not want to see the firefighters succeed and get what they should. And that goes across, we're up here for the entire community. And you're accusing every single one of us of demeaning them. And that's wrong. Now, we have problems. We have issues. We have to work through all of that. A 20% increase is not fathomable. I mean, that is not, there's no way that's going to happen. We need to try to find something. Yelling and accusing everybody is not helping anything. We need to work, and like Steve, we've been talking. We need suggestions. We need ideas. And this last meeting that we had some good ideas come out of that, and hopefully more that will come out of it. But yelling and threatening strikes and talking about people's children, that's not helping. That's not helping the situation, though. We all know how serious this is. There is not a single person up here that has not lost sleep over this issue. There is not one. We are all dealing with this. We all feel this. We all have to work together on this. I don't think we blew Susan off at all. As a matter of fact, I've been in contact with her quite a bit over the last several weeks.
I did. Direct conversation with her.
She sent us information as well. Yes. No, she's given it. I've shared it. Yeah, it's out there.
Adam? Did we not just vote to remove fluoride? Were you not listening to that? No, I was worried about removing it. That's neither here nor there. Steve, there are other things we can do to help you.
Okay. I mean, I'm here to hear all options at this point. Like I said, we're bleeding. We're to the point of bleeding out, and we're beyond the point of critical.
Obviously, this is something that we need to have you come and discuss and look at our budget. And I'm not going to lie to you, Barry, with that.
Steve, is your lobbyist working in Jeff City?
Yes.
Okay.
And I offered that the first time the tax was being presented to the council to go through. Council opted to use a private lobbyist. I still have the option for the IAFF to help us, and they will absolutely do anything in their power. I've got guys here this evening.
They're in Jeff City right now.
Yes.
Your guys are.
Yes, they stay in Jeff City. We have guys that are embedded there. That's what they do full time. The IAFF pays them to handle these types of things. So it's just the collaboration.
A number of representatives that are already pushing this bill, and I'm sure it'll pass the House just like it did the last time.
Right. And hopefully in 2 or 3 years we'll still be here to talk about it. But I said, we still got to figure something out in the meantime.
Yep.
But the whole me looking over the budget, I've done that with Lisa, and what she tells me, I'm taking as gospel because that's her job.
House Bill 866, is that correct?
Yep.
If there's no money, I guess I need to tell these guys that they can continue to look for jobs. I don't know what to say at this point. If there's literally nothing that you guys can do at this point for us, then I guess I'll start writing letters of recommendation. Like I said, that I came here for a short-term fix to hope we can talk and get us through to a long-term fix, and I think we've got a long-term fix on the horizon.
I think we can come up with a short-term fix. Come on up, Roy. If anybody's earned the right to speak, it's you.
My name's Roy Hark. I was on the fire department for 32 years. I was chief for 9 years. I know that we cannot compare ourselves to Quincy. However, I will put these men against any fire anywhere. I would go to hell with them. But we gotta have money to help them. I know you, Barry. I know the problems the city council's having. Now, You're talking about a public safety. How long does that take?
If it passed in November, before we saw significant money from it.
Basically 2 years. Is there any way that we could put a sales tax on with a 2-year, 3-year sunshine that the people would vote for? Because, Barry, their ISO is going to go to the devil.
That is one of the things that we're looking at currently. We just have to make sure that it's legal for us to do that.
Yeah. And the other thing, maybe we haven't had and I know I'm going to get cursed by a lot of people for saying this, but we have not had a property tax in years. You cannot run a city on 1920 taxes. You've got to put it on the ballot, and the people have got to vote to raise it some. That would alleviate a lot of problems for each and every one of you sitting up there, and it would help these guys. Part of their problem, as I've talked to them too, is the insurance going up. Everything's going up on them, and it's hurting them. I know it is, but I would respectfully ask you to look at either a sales tax or a property tax. Not going to be popular, and I'm sure I'm not popular for saying this tonight, but I respect those men. I have seen them work. I have seen them save a man that lived across the street from me when he had a heart attack, and number 3 station was up there that quick, shocked him and brought him back. So we need our firefighters, and we cannot afford to keep losing them. Now, I'm not trying to put the pressure on you guys, but all I'm saying is we're going to have to look at other things besides temporary band-aids.
Yep.
Any questions of me?
No. We looked at property tax last time, and a 10% property tax increase would have paid for their 10% raises. It's too late for the April ballot, but it's certainly not too late to start talking about that for a future ballot.
Well, as I said, you know, I keep hearing how great Quincy is, but Quincy has got a bigger population than us. They got more tax money, and their property taxes are higher.
And their council can go like this and raise taxes.
Well,
we have to go before the voters, and the voters have to vote for that. And we have a $13.5 million budget. $13.5 million. Their fire department has a $14 million budget.
I think that we have got to educate our city and educate them to the problems we're having. And they need to look at coming out of the 1920s and paying their way. I don't like raising my property tax. I'm 80 years old. But I know that the fire department we've had, I know closing number 2 station is a bad deal. And I don't want to see any of these guys get hurt. I don't want to see anyone get hurt. You know, and I know I'm wasting your time, but it takes a special person to be a police officer or a firefighter to crawl into a burning building, get a child that has been burnt, carry him out. That sticks with you the rest of your life. So we need to keep good men that are willing to do that. And I don't know the answer, but I'm just trying to throw out something. I think if you go after a 1-cent sales tax, you're going to have to put a sunshine on anything you do. Barry, do you agree with that?
We have to make sure it's legal first.
Yeah, well.
Because we're pretty much at the max at that.
Counselor, is there anything we can do?
Still got some room. The thing that your issue is going to be, if you raised it up, I believe you may not have up to 1% left that you could do, but it's in that range. But the point is, that's going to put you higher than almost any other community on this side of the state, including maybe St. Louis. I don't know that for a fact.
Well, I know 1-cent sales tax not popular.
Yeah,
but what about
You've got some room, though, on a sales tax that you could go up, especially if you limit it to something with a sunset, as you suggest. Maybe you could get the public to support that. I don't know.
But your public safety tax is going to be 1%. So, I mean,
You would have two competing taxes.
I'd try to stay away from that and go property tax.
I'm not recommending it.
Yeah.
Roy asked me.
No, no.
He was the mayor too long. When he asked me questions, I answer his questions.
I'm just looking for a way to try to pull us out of this mess. I know, and I don't envy any of you sitting up there. I know it's a big job. I was mayor 15 years, and I know it's a tough job. But
Let me talk to the council. In the next council meeting, we'll have an answer as what we can give you.
okay, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm sorry to take all your time, but I just don't want to see our fire department go down the drain.
Absolutely understand.
And I don't want to see our ISO go down, because that's going to raise each and every one of you's property taxes.
I appreciate your speaking, Roy.
All right.
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank
Chief.
you.
We'll figure out the amount.
Sure. Just, I guess, one thing in closing. As you can tell, most of the guys in this room have heard what you're saying. So now would be the time to make, I won't say promises, but give either your words of affirmation or something, because these are the guys.
I can't make a promise, but I will look at every dime that I can to give to you guys.
Right.
In the short term.
But, and no offense, Barry, the way communication has been, and for the longest time, I'm not holding
By
you
the
as
next council meeting, you'll have an answer.
right. But in 2 weeks, I don't know if you know what happens in 2 weeks.
I understand
People
that.
people can put in their time.
If I can get you an
and leave.
answer before that, I will.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. So going forward, I guess we're looking at whatever we can do in 2 weeks to try and decide on a short-term fix, and then we're banking on.
That's what I'm looking at, is the short-term fix.
Okay.
And then we'll look at the other three options that we spoke about and see where those come from there.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
We'll figure
Steve.
it out.
Thank you.
Thank you. April. So each one of these,
I've taken a look over, you've taken stuff off since you said that you wanted to take stuff off, so,
I'm fine
try to cut
with
it
whichever one you want to talk about.
so just one then? Okay, first and foremost, I know a lot of people up there and in the audience don't personally know me. I literally, excuse me, would do anything for anybody, and I do a lot for the community that I don't have to boast or brag about. You know, that's why you guys are up there, because we got the impression you cared. You cared about the community. You wanted to do what was best for us. So the last meeting, I personally wanted to say thank you to Councilman Haycraft, the mayor, and Councilman Munger for voting for transparency. That is what myself and many other people have fought and spoke for the last couple years. And that's why a lot of the people are here tonight. You know, I feel like a lot of stuff has been swept under the rug and people aren't being held accountable for their actions. Also, in regards to Councilman Munger, what you said about threats and accusing, I wasn't threatening a strike. I was saying, hypothetically speaking, what would happen? You know what I mean? Like, looking at these kids back here, it breaks my heart thinking, you know, when their daddy leaves their house, he might not be coming home. Like, it gives me chills, because these guys are risking their life every single day when they're going to work. Would you want to do that job?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah. So with their premiums going up and everything, they can't even barely afford to feed some of their kids. How's that fair? How's that right? So when we are approving and passing to give all these, in my opinion, unnecessary raises to certain positions, whereas I feel like there's positions that do deserve to be paid way more than others. James said during the public speaking portion, this isn't about my campaign. For those of you that don't know, I am running for city council. I am not making this about my campaign. I'm making about that I care. You're the one that brought up my campaign. which I haven't even started, by the way.
I guess this is kickoff.
No, I just wanted to let you know, like, it's not about that. Before I even decided to run, how many years have I been coming before council? Several. I'm taking off a couple of things, and I will put them on the next council meeting. I want to mainly talk about, which is why this house is packed. Period, point blank, there is a lot of mismanagement and money being spent on things that it shouldn't be. I've looked at the last several years of budget, and I would say for at least 15 years, a lot of stuff has been disregarded or swept on the rug that had nothing to do with a lot of you. Maybe Dobson, I don't even know how long you've been on council now.
15 years.
Okay. Well, just to let them know, there's a lot of these problems that started way before any of you guys were up there. And I know there's a lot of problems. But I think that we need to narrow down and pinpoint certain things, which, again, I'll put that to the next meeting. But just some numbers to throw out there. The false allegations for the impeachment charges cost us taxpayers $45,045. The lawsuits, as of today, we're at $26,343.50. What we paid the previous city clerk for paid administrative leave, $62,077.71. During all of that time, we thought it was appropriate and okay to put in all of these secure doors and codes to everything, which also made it super inconvenient for certain city workers. We spent almost $30,000 on that. For over a year, the recycling facility, which I am all for, but the taxpayers are paying $1.90 per bill every month. And for the amount of time that it was closed, well over $17,000. That there alone, $178,837.87 that we had to pay. There's a lot in the budget that the math ain't mathin'. It doesn't make any sense. And I don't honestly know how certain things are getting overlooked and dismissed. And now we're in a crisis where we are losing firefighters left and right, and we're having to up insurance premiums to compensate for, in my opinion, unnecessary spending or things we're being paid for, like false allegations. That's $200,000 right there. He brought up $200,000 earlier, right there. It's so easy to spend money like that on stuff that doesn't matter or lies or isn't important. Their lives are important.
April, do you think that we couldn't spend anything on those court costs during that impeachment issue? Do you think that we had a choice
false allegations weren't made,
not to spend
it wouldn't
anything?
cost us anything.
Pardon me?
If false allegations weren't made, it wouldn't have cost us anything.
But they were.
Correct.
And we have a responsibility to fight that litigation. And we have no choice but to fight that litigation.
I don't think you're picking up what I'm putting down. I'm saying one person is already gone that made false allegations. One person is still here that position just got a raise. So we're okay with, let's give her a raise, them a raise. What about them? It wasn't important enough to give them a raise, but it's important enough to give somebody that's making false allegations a raise? Make it make sense.
Those false allegations, whether they were false or not false, were made. We had on this council,
whether or not they were, you can go back and watch the city council meeting.
Had no choice that those allegations
I realize
were
you guys
made.
didn't have a choice.
We have to react to them because they were made.
And I understand that.
Whether it was one person or two, it was not.
So do you think it still makes sense to employ somebody
staff.
Who you can still, to this day, go back and watch the council meeting where the allegations were made that never happened? You think it's okay to still employ that person and allow that person to cost us a whole bunch of money and then give her a raise? But Councilman Welch, who's no longer here, said it himself at a meeting. There's no repercussions for anybody. Just smack on the wrist. Don't do it again. We're just going to hope and pray it doesn't happen again. What's going to happen if somebody else makes a claim?
April. Pick a topic that you want to talk about and not keep going on and on about this. Which one of these topics are important to you that you want to talk about?
I was trying to speak about the budget and how
Okay,
I
that's
felt
fine.
like there is a
Then
lot
move on
of
from that point that you're trying to make to what else you think is overspending or not. Because if that's the only thing you have, that's
No, it's
then
not.
By all means, move forward.
Okay. Job descriptions. I guess I'm going to go ahead and just leave out an incident that happened the other day. There is a lack of understanding on a lot of people's part. There's no clear definition on certain people's, even the ones that have a contract signed with the city. For example, this is the city manager employment agreement, and it has included in it the job description, her job description. I believe that there's been 3 thus far that have been approved by the city. One of the very first things that is the primary purpose of the city manager's position is the budget and financial leadership for the city. I mean, considering the state that we're in, I don't think that's been done properly, in my opinion. Another primary position, public relations with the citizens and the media. Lisa, how many interviews have you done with the news, TV, or any of them?
Didn't have to answer.
What? Why not?
Because you're not up here to
Is that not
that.
her job?
Has she spoken to the media?
She
spoken to
refuses,
citizens?
actually.
Mayor, to my point, this is all public comment material, as I stated
No,
before.
because I'm trying to ask that there's
This
oversight.
is all public comment material. You have not requested any recourse of this council.
I'm asking for
This
action.
council is not required to allow this, Mayor. It is your choice.
So
You
asking
continue
for there to be a clear job description,
That's not the point you're trying to make. What you're doing is making a personal attack.
but I'm asking for
What
an
you're
action.
doing is making a personal attack on the city manager. There's not a person in this room that doesn't understand that your goal is a personal attack on the city manager. Now, if the council chooses to allow you to continue to do that, that's their choice. However, my recommendation would be, this is all public comment. We are well beyond the period of time which public comment would normally be allowed.
How long were we just
I would
speaking
recommend that
with
you
the
go ahead and
previous
cease it,
speaker?
But that's up to the council to do. I don't make judgment calls. I just give advice.
I mean, I feel like a lot of people here want to hear what I have to say besides for just the council. I'm not
That's
just
what
voicing my
public
concern,
comment
but
is for.
for a lot of other people.
That is what public comment is for, and this council established rules a long time ago.
But I'm
that
not making a
they will
comment. I'm
allow
asking
3
for
minutes
change.
public comment. Okay, you've asked for change. You're making public comment, and in order to make public comment, you're making a personal attack on the city manager.
I asked if that was her job. I asked how many interviews. That's not an attack. That's simply a question. Is it not?
You're making a personal attack on the city manager. You've accused her of making false allegations. Because
it's a fact. You can go back and watch it.
I wasn't taking notes, but the bulk of your presentation tonight has been an attack on the city manager. You have the right to attack the city manager. She is a public person. However, that is all public comment. That is not you requesting recourse of this council.
Actually, in regards to the communication with the community, which was going to be the first thing that I addressed, according to the state, the city attorney is to advise all the city officials, including the city council members, at city council meeting only for legal advice on city affairs, not speak on their behalf. For example, the last meeting, the city clerk asked in regards to the votes, the proper way of going through things, since we were short a councilman, and it was essentially tied. She didn't know how it could be you politely addressed her. She continued speaking. So by no means do I think that it's your fault, but it's disrespectful to the citizens as well as anybody speaking when we are specifically asking someone and they were blatantly refusing to answer. Like, questions are constantly diverted to you.
The council is not obligated to answer any questions. You're not owed an answer just because you want to come in here and make demands on this council. That's not the law. It's ridiculous. You can't get any business done that way. If the council requests that I respond to something that I have knowledge about, I'm their attorney. I can answer the question. I can give you information if they want me to. That's not a violation of the law.
So you're an attorney to protect them,
if someone
not the community?
If the state told you that it's illegal for me to answer a question when I'm requested by my client to answer that question, then they're a moron.
So, but just correct me with what I asked, that you are to advise on legality purposes, not tell them that they don't have to answer that question.
I'm not going to accept the framework of your ridiculous question. My job as city attorney is to advise the council on any legal related matter. If I have information which I can provide to them, that is perfectly acceptable for me to provide same. I have never taken any action as the city attorney which is against the law, or which is a violation of the law, or which is a violation of my ethics or my obligations. I don't appreciate your bull. However, you're not going to play games and trap me into it. I can give any
when I'm asking
answer
her why
I
she's
want.
not upholding what is her job description that she signed a contract signed and agreed to. That's a legality thing.
The city manager is not a member of this council. The city manager answers to the council, not to you. If the council has a problem with her performance, they can address that with her. The appropriate way for you to handle things like what you're attempting to do tonight would be to go to your council person and express to them your concerns and express to them that you think there's a problem. And if they agreed with you, they would take action with the other council. Let me finish. If you don't think that your council person is doing their job, then you should run for council as you're doing. And if you get elected, you can do all of these things. You can place things on the agenda. You can ask the rest of the council to fire the city manager. You can ask them to fire any city employee that you want, and they're going to have to decide what they're going to do. However, this is not the appropriate way to handle these things.
Is it not okay or acceptable to go before council and ask for people to be held accountable for what they agreed to? Is that not okay? Is that not acceptable?
It's a hypothetical question, and it doesn't particularly apply to what you're doing. What you're doing is you've got a personal axe to grind with the city manager, and you want to play games
Actually, I
and
have
make an attack
several
on
job
her.
descriptions of several positions. Hers was on top and I grabbed
And
it.
it's not appropriate to allow you to grind axes with the city employees. If you have issues, you have the absolute right to come and
It
comment.
all circles back to the budget, which is why a lot of the people are here. Does it not?
If you believe that there's a problem in the budget and you believe that the city manager
That's
is
a fact. That's not a belief. That's a
and
fact.
you believe she's inappropriately budgeted, then that is something which you could bring to the council. You could say, look, here on line 36, this is budgeted. I believe that's inappropriate. What you're doing is making accusations and throwing out claims that the city manager is just inappropriate in some way, and therefore that's why the fire department's
That
not
she's
getting paid more
inappropriate
money.
how?
That's ridiculous and stupid.
That's inappropriate. What did you just say that I was implying or said?
You are trying to claim that the city manager is in some way a bad person. Therefore, that means the budget is inaccurate, correct? Is that where we're going?
I never said that she was a bad person or inappropriate. I'm saying that there's a lot of mismanagement, miscommunication to where things are getting swept under the rug. There are certain parts of the budget that are being overlooked. And
allegations, if you have specific issues, those
allegations to allege. I'm not alleging, it's a fact.
Those would be appropriate things to bring either in the public comment period, when you can have your 3 minutes for each meeting rather than 15 or 20, or as you've sometimes been allowed, 45 minutes to an hour, or if you had specific, yes, you have.
Please
or
tell
if
me
you
which
have
council meetings.
specific items which you believe a council person needs to take action on, you could bring that to the councilman, but.
Why do you think I'm bringing so much stuff before the council? Because
you're running for council.
No, because prior to even running for the last several years, like I said, a lot of people can attest, I've spoke at several meetings the last several years, that when I've reached out to my councilman, nothing is done. Henceforth, why I come to the entire council and shed light on it with the public to let them be aware.
Call Mary at my office. Ask to set up a time. You can come and bring these to me directly. Ask, pick any councilman that you want there too, and we'll go over each one.
But it's not one councilman. I feel like to be, I know, but I feel like to be fair, like,
I understand.
everybody needs to be aware. The public, the council, everybody.
I understand. But you have allegations you want to bring them to me.
And you're saying that something would be done, or that you're just willing to listen to me,
I will
not
listen to whatever
hear?
allegations, and if it's something that is actionable, action will be taken.
Okay. So would it be fair if I ask that the job descriptions thoroughly be looked into, and that people that have signed contracts, anybody, not just her, I'm not trying to target her, it was the first one on here, I can give you a whole stack of them, that people are being held accountable for doing what they were hired to do? Would that be fair to ask? Okay. I will leave the rest of my stuff for the next council meeting, but I just want to say one more thing, because one of my favorite quotes used to be, nothing changes if nothing changes. I love that quote. And as of last week, I have a new quote that I really, really hope sinks in. What we don't change, we are choosing. So by choosing not to make change, you're choosing to stay in the state that we're in. So think about that.
All right, we have bill number 25-037. I need a motion to have the clerk give this bill a second and final reading.
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 25-037, an ordinance of the City of Hannibal amending Chapter 12, Section 12-23 of the ordinance of revoking the existing section and enacting a new section of 12-23 in its place. Second and final reading. Councilman Cohen?
Yes.
Councilman Phillips?
Yes.
Councilman Munger?
Yes.
Councilman Haycraft?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Mayor Lauderman?
Yes. I declare bill number 24-037 duly approved and adopted on this day. I have bill number 25-038. I need a motion to have the clerk give this bill a second and final reading.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Bill number 25-038, an ordinance accepting the dedication of a private alley running parallel to A Street and perpendicular to Lion Street to public use. Second and final reading. Councilman Cohen?
Yes.
Councilman Phillips?
Yes.
Councilman Munger?
Yes.
Councilman Haycraft?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Dobson?
Yes.
Mayor Lauderman?
Yes. Now we have resolution 25.
That we took
Already read
care
that
of.
before you
We're
did.
done.
Move to
Never
adjourn.
mind, that's already done.
Motion to adjourn.
So now I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?